What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 53 of the Let's Talk Nerdy podcast. On this episode, we are talking Batman Caped Crusader, Gladiator II, To the Star, and Borderlands.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you're here?
Is that Gladiator 1?
If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer.
You are now tuned in to the Let's Talk Nerdy podcast.
I love it when you talk nerdy to me.
Let's go, dude.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I was gonna say 300, and I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. So I'm glad I got it right.
Let's go.
I think Gladiator 2 is a big hint for that, but yeah, I'm excited.
I
I
figured what better episode than this to pull out that gem.
That is such a iconic Gladiator quote.
Such an iconic Gladiator quote indeed. Russell Crowe at his absolute best. But what is up, man? How you been? Long time no see.
I know we took a week off. Things got a little crazy for me. And let me tell you, I have a kind of a big life recap for everybody and about what I've been doing the last few weeks. And I actually have a couple questions about as we start talking about them. But let's start it off with number one here. So I'm more in the healthcare field, right? You know that, Dave. And audience, I think you guys know that as well. Well, I did this continuing education course where you learn how to like needle people. It's kind of like you use the same acupuncture needles, but it's a different method of why we're doing it. But anyway, so this might be a little personal, but so I'd have it practiced on me too, is like so I know how it feels, so I can explain it to my patients and whatnot. Well, anyway, we were working on the glutes, right? We're working on the butt cheeks.
Yeah.
And so my partner stuck it into my butt cheek, and as she's trying to take them out, it literally got stuck.
Oh no.
The needle is stuck in my butt cheek. So as you're like trying to pull out the needle, it's like pulling my skin, and it like she's like yanking on it. I was like, okay, let me try. So I'm like reaching back there, trying to grab this needle out of my butt cheek, and you know the best way to get it out? Just put another one in.
Oh no.
So you had to put another one in to like hit that one to like let it relax. And that's how you got that out. So that's number one story. I have like 3 stories here for you, everybody.
Before we move on to the second story, I just want to say, guys, this one time I had acupuncture done, the one and only time I ever had it done. And I had so it was like this pressure point kind of thing where it's supposed to alleviate headaches and I had these things all over, dude. They were the back of my head, all down my neck, up in my upper back and my lower back. And then after she was done, she's like, okay, I need to leave them here for a little bit. So she just leaves the room and I have all of these needles in my back and I'm laying there face down. And I'm just having this full-blown panic attack because I'm having this irrational fear that the table that I'm laying on is going to collapse. I'm going to fall on the floor. And thus, when I hit the floor, all of these needles are going to drive deep into my body. Is that an irrational fear? Does anybody else think about
That's
that?
like a Final Destination.
Yeah, exactly.
Fear. And I could see it happening in like that sense of a movie. But you should feel some sort of relief knowing that these needles are like super thin, so the likelihood of actually doing any real damage is crazy. But
no,
I can see it being a fear.
Yeah, no, I had no relief. I went in there and paid $100 and something for a full-blown panic attack.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it did not help to release all your headaches and get your chi back to normal.
Yeah.
But okay, so that was my number 1 story. Number 2 story, and I don't know if anybody else really enjoys Oreos, but I love Oreos. And you obviously have to have milk. This is beyond the point. So this story, I'm eating Oreos, right? And I'm like sitting in my room, and this is kind of before bed. And I was like, you know what? I'm too lazy to take the Oreos to the kitchen. Okay, so and then I fall asleep, and next thing I know, I'm waking myself up to what I thought was me hitting my package of Oreos. Like it was a loud rustle of the Oreos, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how did I hit this package of Oreos? And then next thing I know, I'm laying there almost asleep. I hear this rustle again. I'm like, so I jump up. I was like, okay, something else is rustling these Oreos. And I'm sitting there. I was like, maybe I'm just hearing things. Well, so I sit up and like things are starting to go through my mind. It rustles again. And I'm staring at it this time. There's a mouse in my package of Oreos.
I knew that was coming.
It was the worst thing of my life. First of all, I want to know how it climbed up my wooden side table. Like, that's crazy. That's number one. Number two, how does this mouse get into the package of Oreos? Like, how it has that plastic sticky sleeve so it can't open, right?
Yeah.
So that was sealed. And then how does he get himself trapped in the Oreos?
Dude, you have encountered the Ethan Hunt of mice.
It was insane. And then, so what I do is I run to my kitchen, I grab one of those grocery bags, I put the Oreos in there, tie it up really tight, I chuck it into the garbage. Well, I wake up at like 7:30 in the morning because I had to get ready for this actually dry needling course. And I'm like, wait, where are my glasses? I'm like looking everywhere, up and down, underneath the bed, in the covers, in the drawer. I accidentally pushed my glasses into the bag with the mouse and Oreo because I just like shoved it in there. I guess my glasses were in front of the Oreos. And so I'm in there digging for my glasses and the mouse is like rustling as I'm trying to grab my glasses. Like,
He wasn't dead?
he wasn't dead. And I'm like,
Oh, no.
this is the worst experience of my life. So that's kind of that's my personal stories. I hope they're funny and hope that never happens to you.
Did you let the mouse go outside?
No,
when
put him
you
in the
were-
garbage. Put him in the garbage.
Even when he was rustling around and you were looking for the glasses?
Yeah, I just like, nope, not dealing with it. Garbage. Sorry, mice lovers and everybody that loves animals. I just couldn't bring myself to get the mouse out of the Oreos. Yeah, I just couldn't do it.
Okay, well, he probably died the best death that a mouse could have, which is death by eating 4,000 times his weight in Oreos.
Yeah, there's a full sleeve at least left of those Oreos. So it was a little depressing. I probably won't eat Oreos for a very long time. And I definitely won't leave any food in my anywhere except for the cabinets ever again.
Can I be honest with you?
What's that?
I think I'm kind of over Oreos.
Really?
I don't know.
I have to have milk. I can't just eat them like dry.
I could probably eat them dry. I think I just kind of over them.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that you had so many times. Speaking of milk, though, I have a question for you. When you guys, and I want to know this, leave this question in their answer in the comments, please. When you have a bowl of milk with your cereal, do you drink it?
Yeah, you have to.
Do we have this conversation before?
I believe we have, maybe not on the episode or on the podcast, but I think we have. But it's a waste of milk if you don't drink it. And it's some of the best.
Right down the drain.
No, sometimes it's the best flavored milk ever.
Ugh.
The milk I do not like of cereal is Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Fruit Loops, or Captain Crunch. Those are the three I won't drink.
Because it gets too like sugary
I don't
and
know.
like
It's
sticky.
just really weird. Like, especially Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And Cinnamon Toast Crunch in general has a weird aftertaste.
Guys, let us know in the
Yeah,
comments. Are
yeah.
you team milk broth or are you team dump it down the drain? Because I am team dump it down the drain.
I don't know. I don't feel that
It's
way.
gr-
But
it's
anyways,
gross.
Dave, what games
Okay.
you've been playing? Let's move on before we digress too far in this.
Haven't been really playing any games. Still kind of jamming on the Forest. We beat that.
Yeah.
I did go back and I played the. Remember we were talking about doing the. Should I go back? Should I not go back to Vice City? Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah. Did you?
I went back.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Totally
Yeah,
fine.
no, I love it.
Good.
Totally fine. I
Good.
love it.
Just like
Nostalgia is great.
Just kind of bring back some memories as you played the game.
It's PS2 janky, but like I knew that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it was fun.
Good.
So I was doing that. The bigger news of the week is I've been doing a little cleaning up around here. And I do want to very happily report that the Two-Face coin is back. We have found the Two-Face
Whoa.
coin. It is back. It is back.
Good job, Dave.
Yeah. Other than that, I got nothing though.
Oh, okay. Well, game-wise for me, I've been doing just entertainment in general-wise. I've been doing a lot of different things. Still been playing Multiverses. I finally finished the Battle Pass. Got my wife to start playing with me.
Oh snap.
Yeah, she's
pretty good.
kind of a killer with Tasmanian Devil. That's
Really?
her character right now, and she's liking it. So
Okay.
I got her into that. 2, I've been playing Hitman 3 because you've been telling me to play that, and I finally was like, you know what? It's on sale. I'm gonna play it. And I just want to go out there and say, I was going to make it a Let's Play. Dave and I went back and forth. I'm like, Dave, I'm going to make this a Let's Play. Dave, no, I'm not. Dave, yes, I am. I finally decided, no, I'm not, for a couple reasons. One is because I died 1,000 times and my thought process doesn't really translate well to a video of like, okay, what is this guy doing? This is so boring. So that is number one. Number 2, I just thought like, yeah, it was really just came down to gameplay, and I didn't think I was very entertaining with. I was just getting more frustrated the more times I couldn't figure something out. So that is not going to be a let's play, but there are very funny moments that I'll probably turn into some YouTube shorts and just clips that you guys can all enjoy. But I really enjoy the game. It's a lot harder than I anticipated, and a lot more like thought process to it.
Adam did not believe in himself, guys. I spent weeks in text with Adam trying to build him up and say that he was gonna do a great job, but he just
I did not believe in myself with this one. I think there's other games that would be a better suited let's play for me personally. Now, I don't think Hitman is, because of all the different direction you can go. I think the story driven, Adam, here's step A, step B, step C, like the very clear path of what I'm supposed to do, I think would be a much better let's play for me.
well, I mean, just saying, the fans want it. I want it.
We'll definitely have the funny clips. I'll upload the funny clips because there's some good ones. The third mission, I was like, man, I am cruising through this. Like, I know what I'm doing. And all it takes is one stupid bystander to be like, oh no, I saw you. And then they go to the guards and the guards start shooting you. And then so this is how this mission turned out. I thought I was killing it. I killed the 3 because there's 4 ICA agents that you had to kill, right?
Yeah.
I get the first one. I was like, oh, this is great. I know what I'm doing. But as I got the first one, that's when that like NPC is like, I saw you do it. And then all of a sudden everybody's coming at me. So I turned it from a stealthy Hitman-esque game to me playing like Call of Duty, just bopping everybody and anybody that walks into the room.
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
Do I restart it or do I just go through it? And yeah, so that's what I did. Just ran right through it. Everybody was murked and I felt really bad and good about myself. I was like, wow, I know it's kind of easy to die if you do it like this, but I was proud. I made it all the way through, just bopped everybody that came through the door. And then as I was playing it offline, like not making the video, I realized you could load it from where you failed.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was reloading it every time I started. Like I restarted
like starting the mission over.
I didn't
Yeah.
know you could do it from where.
Well, I mean, that's okay. I mean, you can do it, but I don't really like doing it. I kind of like starting from the beginning, like as doing the mission as a whole and kind of see how it plays. Because that's the greatest thing about Hitman is like, like I was telling you, it's very stealthy. It's very, solve the puzzle, find the objective, blah, blah, blah. But like, you don't have to do that.
Right.
You literally just run in and just shoot everybody. And like, that's the end of it. So it's kind of fun to see how the mission plays out in its entirety. It's got a lot of replay value.
It does.
You can play it a lot of different ways.
And it's cool that they have different modes, like the roguelike mode where like you just take out different contracts and like level up that way. But the first mission, which takes place in Dubai, we're getting super sidetracked with this, but it was cool because like I would restart the whole mission and I'm formulating a plan as I go, like, okay, I'm gonna do this way to kind of keep progressing through and really home how I want to kill these targets. And out of nowhere, I stumble across, I'm like, wait a minute, I could cook this, I could become the chef, poison the guy's food, and kill him that way. And it just came out of nowhere. Like, that was not in my plan at all. I just happened to stumble across it. I was like, this is it. This is going to be easy. And it took me, like, no time to kill him. And then the second guy was even easier. So it's cool to see how you can unfold it without knowing. Like, it can go completely not according to plan. I think that's really cool.
It's a lot of fun. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. I thought it was a game that, like, you would kind of like. I know you're not the biggest puzzle guy when it comes to games, but I think those types of puzzles are a little bit different. It's not the same as like, oh, find these 4 objects and put them all in this sphere the right way. You know what I mean? It's different.
You make your own plan and make it however you want to play the game, and that's really cool. And I am going to keep playing this game because it's very fun. I want to play it in VR, but for whatever reason, like my computer and my Oculus like aren't agreeing together with this specific game. I can play other games VR, but for whatever reason, Hitman 3 is like, no. I'm like, okay. I Googled for hours trying to figure this out. So if anybody knows how to fix Hitman VR with MetaQuest 2, let me know. Because I really want to play it this way.
This is Meta just launching out random bugs into games, so trying to get people to buy the 3.
Yeah, buy the 3 and buy the standalone game instead. So that's probably what's happening.
Just buy the 3, it'll work perfect.
That's probably true. Okay, one more thing I want to talk about. So talking about entertainment in general. Dave, have you watched the Breaking Bad?
I'm going to be honest here, guys. No, I have not watched Breaking Bad. I know it's the greatest show of all time, and I get a lot of slack for this. But I just, I don't know, dude. I just feel like it passed me by. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so I thought so too. And then my wife and I were trying to figure out what shows we're gonna watch. And then so I texted my friend Blake. Blake, if you're listening, I know you listen quite a bit, and it's one of his favorite shows. And truthfully, I'm enjoying the show. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm enjoying it. I'm on season 4, so we're cruising quite a bit. I just want to know like what for everybody. And I'm not trying to like say, oh, like my opinion, Matt. You know what I mean? Like for really, my question is, why is it the greatest show ever to the people that it's their favorite show? That's like a genuine question. I'm not trying to like, oh, I don't see it. But the reason why I say that is like for me watching it, and like I said, I'm enjoying the show. I have nothing against it. There's some parts of it, I'm like, the pacing just feels really slow. I feel like I'm kind of losing some of the drive. But I think why it's like a good show for me, I think it's because I want to know what happens in the end. Like I think that's why I'm enjoying the show so much. Is like I just want to see what's happening next. What's happening next? Like what's gonna completely happen in the end. Not so much of like the not random, just the slower pace of the show.
I mean, I've never really commented on it, but I've obviously seen like episodes. Like
Mhm.
I've never sat down and like watched it from start to finish, but I've been places where people are watching it, and obviously like my TV's been on and it starts playing an episode or something like that. And like, I don't know, dude, I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, the show is good. Like it's not bad by
Yeah.
any means, but like why I'm not seeing what is like making this the greatest show of all
Right.
time. You know what I mean? Like I just never saw it.
And that's my question. And again, I'm not trying to say, oh, this show isn't good, because it absolutely is good. I'm enjoying watching it, but I just want to know like what part of the show for others is really got people saying this is my favorite show. So let us know in the comments like this is my show and this is why. I really want to know the why for other people.
That's a great question. I'd love to know that too. My favorite thing about Breaking Bad, do you know the theory behind Breaking Bad?
I do not.
This is one of my favorite fan theories of all time. Breaking Bad. Think of Breaking Bad as a prequel to Malcolm in the Middle, in which Bryan Cranston goes into witness protection and then plays this kind of like dummy dad character
Hmm.
in Malcolm in the Middle. Isn't that kind of funny?
That is kind of funny. I haven't seen Malcolm in the Middle in so long though. It's hard for me to remember. That's the one with Frankie Muniz, right?
Yeah, with the Muniz, yeah, Frankie Muniz, the 3 kids,
Yeah.
and like Bryan Cranston plays he plays the dad, but he plays like a little bit of a dummy, like he's kind of the silly, goofy, dummy kind of dad.
I'll have to check it out again. I haven't watched that in so long. It's hard for me to remember any of that.
Great fan theory.
That is a great fan theory. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really all I had a question about it. Watching tons of movies still. And Dave, we got movies tonight. Movies and TV shows. I just want to apologize to all of our movie lovers out there that we kind of just dropped the movies altogether. Dave was like, Adam, we need to start talking about movies. People want to talk about them. So here we are talking about movies and TV shows. Again, I'm sorry. I'm glad we're bringing it back because I do love movies, and it's a big part of our show. And we just kind of said, bye.
We did kind of say bye, and honestly, to be fair, guys, like we I don't know. I don't want to say we get in trouble with YouTube, but like for some reason they don't love when we talk about movies. But you know what? We're gonna say whatever, and who cares? And we're gonna go back to the roots a little bit here. So the movie, you guys that have been following us since the movie days, that are kind of like, hey man, where's all the movies and shows and stuff have been? They are back.
Yeah, they are back, and I think we're gonna add a little bit more to it other than just say, hey, this is what movie's coming out. We're gonna try a little bit of reviewing of them too as we start watching these two. Not so much like a dedicated review, but we'll be like, hey, you see this movie? And be like, yeah, what are your thoughts? So that's kind of what our plan is for the movies. But really we thought this is more so my lack of knowledge of YouTube. I thought copyright claims were the same as copyright strikes, and I thought we were getting in trouble, but we have since learned that is not the case. We're safe to talk about them. We just obviously can't claim that content as our own. So the trailers, they get marked as copyright claims, but not strikes. So we're not terribly worried because we're not stealing content and we're not making money off of it because, yeah, we're just not. So other than that, that's where we're at.
Movies are back, and we apologize for not understanding how YouTube works,
Yeah.
but we have it under control now.
Yes. Yep. We hired lawyers. No, we didn't. I wish we did not need to do that. So let's get into our first TV show, Batman: Caped Crusader, which comes out August 1st. Dave, Let me hear it. Are you excited about this? I can't wait to hear. This is one of the shows I've been waiting for to talk about with you. As you're like, oh, I want to talk about this. Yeah, I've been eager to hear your thoughts about it, and so let's talk about it.
Guys, Batman the Cape Crusader comes out August 1st on Prime Video. They will be dropping all 10 episodes at once, which is super cool because if you guys know me at all, I love to binge watch. And I have to tell you guys know that I was super hyped for the release of the X-Men series. I'm so juiced for the release of this Cape Crusader series. I'm so beyond excited for this. I want this to drop right now, and if this was available right now, I would do this podcast and then I would go watch 10 episodes of it.
And the cool thing about this, before we jump into the trailer here, is has a lot of the original people. Like it's got a star, like a very established group of Batman people doing this show, which is really cool.
Absolutely insane. So, guys, if you guys don't know anything about this so far, basically this is going to work as a successor to the original animated series in 1996. Now, it's not going to follow that series. It's going to take place in a time period before that series, but it is working as a successor in the sense is that the art style, the visualization and the people working on the project is kind of what I'm going for as a successor. And you'll see it as we're moving through the trailer. You can really see the influence of the original animated series. It's very dark. It's very noir. Gotham's has a very specific look to it, and that's kind of what's exciting me the most. And like Adam said, star-studded lineup of producers, directors, people working on this project. Bruce Timm, the creator of the original animated series, is returning to work on the project. They also got J.J. Abrams, who needs no introduction, and they've also brought on Matt Reeves, who did The Batman. So I mean, just incredible minds in the comic book, movie, TV space who have a very good knowledge of the source material and a very specific kind of look and vibe that they're going for. And I think all three of these people kind of have the same vision when it comes to like how they want to portray this, don't you think?
And I think it shows in the trailer, like, and it definitely takes a lot of inspiration from the 90s like animated series, and they do it in a way where it's original but still stays true to, like, again, the vision of what these three are putting together and making it exciting for people to watch. And that's why I think it's going to be really cool.
So I mean, there's a lot of hype behind it. Adam, if you want to roll a trailer, we can run through it. The thing that you're going to notice here is Batman has a little bit different of a look to him, specifically kind of the when it comes to the cape and cowl, the points and the ears are a little bit higher, and that's kind of drawing a lot of influence from the original Batman, the original comic book run, very early in the career. And I think what's really cool about this is I don't know if you remember from the original animated series, but it was kind of hard to really pinpoint the time frame of where it was at because
Right.
you felt like it kind of took place in the 90s when you were, watching it, but also if you really looked at it, like they had kind of this old school vintage vibe behind it when it came to like the cars and the houses and the way people dressed and everything. So it was a little kind of confusing. This is going to take place in the 40s. So
Yep.
we know that this is going to take place in a very early time. And they're saying that this is going to take place before Frank Miller's Incantation of Year One, which is kind of one of the earliest, aside from the original Batman comic or the original Detective Comics, kind of the earliest stories that we have of Batman. Like, this is literally going to take place like 2 weeks into Batman being Batman,
Yeah.
where people don't really know who he is. Like,
Right.
Detective Gordon and, like all of these people, they're not comfortable with Batman. They don't know who he is. They're not used to him being a crime fighter. And all of these villains are going to be meeting him for the very first time. And it's like, to be able to kind of see that as it unfolds is really awesome. Like, I'm super excited to see that. Like, the first time Catwoman meets Batman, you know what I mean? Like, the first time the Penguin meets Batman, it is like, I'm so excited for this. It's going to be so sick.
And it's funny that you say that this is gonna be like the first time that they know Batman's coming, and he even says that in the trailers, like, oh, they're gonna know I'm here and I'm coming. And it's cool to hear him say something like that because, again, like you said, it's early Batman. It's the 40s. it's the time where nobody knows who he is, and I think it's a really good time period of Batman. And overall, I think it looks really cool. And I really like the fact that they're going back to the feel of it's more investigative and like it's got that noir style. And that's it just fits the theme of the 1940s and so on. And it's just cool. It gives a very nostalgic feel of a Batman, and I'm excited for this one. Probably not as much as you because you know Batman so much more than I do in comics and the animated series. But other than that, I love Batman, and this is a great direction for it to go.
You said it's definitely going to lean more on the detective side of things because, you know, like we said, it takes place in the 40s. So he's going to be in this situation where, like, you know, this is very early into his career. He's only like 2 weeks into being Batman. It's in the 1940s. He's not going to have a lot of the stuff that you're used to seeing. You know what I mean? Like, he's just not going to have like he's
The
not going to have the
technology and the super
the technology, and like he's not going to have the bat plane. He's not going to have, you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to have a lot of that stuff. So it's going to be a little bit of a different vibe. But
yeah.
I think what they're going to do is just, you know, like you said, lean heavier into the detective side of things. And I always really enjoyed that aspect of Batman. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And I think one of the really cool things is, if you guys were just listening, you weren't able to see the trailer, the incantations of all the people that we've seen in that trailer look really well done. Like, they look really, really good. Like, Catwoman looked great. We saw Firebug in the trailer, which is we'll talk about later, a little bit more of an obscure villain. But we saw the Penguin, and we saw Clayface. Like, Clayface looks so sick with that. Like, he had like the train robber get up. Like, he had the handkerchief and stuff. Like, they look so good, dude. It looks so
No,
good.
I think that one was Scarecrow.
No, that's Clayface.
Oh, you think so? Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well,
That's
then
the
I was wrong with
incantation
that.
of Clayface.
Interesting. Unless I'm thinking of a different character. But yeah, I think that's also really cool. Like how many villains that they already showing off and who they're going to bring into the show. And like they have Harvey Dent, and I'm not sure. So it shows Harvey Dent as Harvey Dent. You don't really see a transition of him being Two-Face yet, anyways. There's Onomatopoeia, Firebug, Clayface, Hugo Strange, Scarecrow, Carmine Falcone, the Penguin, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and those are just the ones shown in the trailer. So who knows if there's going to be the Joker or anybody else going to pop up that is outside of the trailer. But it's really cool. Like you said, the incantations and the drawings really fits with the style of Bruce Timm and what he did with the animated series. And I think it looks really cool. And also, like, going back to the not nostalgia, the detective work that really, I think that's what made the Batman movie so, like, I don't want to say like the most successful. I thought that one was good because of how Matt Reeves took it to that investigative. I think that's why that Batman worked. Like, the Batman worked because of the route he took. Is it the best Batman movie ever? No, but I think it worked for what he was trying to do, and it was a good movie.
I think you nailed it right on the head. I mean, I think we've gone so far that, like, people almost kind of forget that Batman at his heart is a detective. I mean, the original comics are detective comics, you know, and it wasn't always this like
brawler, get in there, beat a bunch of people up, get out, and he wasn't like a face the crime head on. He was like, okay, I got to figure out what's happening. I got to figure out where these crimes are coming from.
And it kind of throws it back to its roots. So I'm super excited for the direction that they're taking this. And also, they've already signed on for 2 seasons. So I think that's really interesting. The fact that this has already been signed on for 2 seasons. So we know that we're getting a second season for this. And we did mention a lot of people. We mentioned Harley. We mentioned, Firefly, Clayface, Two-Face. The one thing that people are saying is they wish that they saw the Joker in this trailer. But I will say, I do not think that the Joker is going to be in season 1, but I do think the Joker is going to be in season 2, because if you think of it this way, do you remember when Batman Begins came out, how it ended?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of Batman Begins, they have this whole thing with the Scarecrow and with Ra's al Ghul, all that stuff, right? And at the very end, Commissioner Gordon's like, there's a new guy in town. And he hands him the Joker card. And that's how Batman Begins finished. Do you remember the hype that happened from that moment until the release of The Dark Knight? People did not stop talking about the possibility of the Joker coming in for the second movie for years until they saw it. So like I'm almost kind of thinking like, what better way to end season 1 than tease the Joker to make sure that people are interested in season 2?
Right, and he's got to be around because like unless they're not staying true to the comics, but like Harley Quinn is Harley Quinn because of the Joker, and I'd be hard pressed to think that they're going to be like, oh, there's no Joker for this Harley Quinn. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense that they do Harley without the Joker. So I know people are a little bit disappointed that they're not seeing the Joker in this trailer. I do think we are going to get the Joker, obviously, and I think it's going to happen at the end of season 1, teasing into season 2.
And I wonder with that, like, so Harley Quinn seems to be like more of like from the trailer wise, she seemed more like stone faced, like hard, like, you know what I mean? Like, she seemed more serious right now. And I wonder if that's like you said, this is like even like early Harley Quinn before like the way she's thinking now is like, oh, the Joker manipulated me and like I don't want anything to do with him yet. And then it turns into her goofy Harley and Puddin and stuff like that next season.
I do think this is going to be a little bit of a darker series too, because the one thing that you mentioned with Harley Quinn, if you go back and you look at Harley's outfit in the trailer, it's very different. It's not the original animated series with the red and the white. It's not the Daddy's Little Girl incantation. It's almost kind of like it's almost kind of creepy, isn't it? Like kind of scary. It's a very like Harley Quinn-esque like doll kind of look to it, and I don't know, it's almost like unsettling. And if you go back and look at the Matt Reeves versions of, the Batman, his characters, like the Riddler, like they were kind of unsettling. It was very dark and very like, I think this is going to be a little bit more edgy than people think.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it fits well with what all these like producers are going for and the creators are going for. And I think it works very well and it stays true to their vision. And I think it's nice, like Batman in the sense of like, we got that Merry Little Batman. You remember that? We talked about that. And truthfully, I didn't watch it because at first I was like, oh, it's so silly. It's going to be fun. And then I was like, wait a minute. Like, this is not what I want Batman to be. This is not the art style I like. This is not the vision I see for a serious investigating crime fighter. And so that's why I was like, this is not for me. And granted, it was for some kids. It was definitely geared more towards kids. And this one might have more mature tones to it with just the overall noir feel, the darker tones in general, and I think it's going to be good for that sense.
And we talk about it all the time, dude. It's like the MCU has kind of like figured it out, I guess. I mean, they're, obviously we talk about it all the time. They're starting to die off a little bit, but the MCU kind of figured it out. For whatever reason, the DC movies just never hit. But the DC animateds, like that's kind of their bread and butter. That's where they really shine. So to have something like this where it might be a little bit darker, kind of fits the narrative of DC. You know what I mean? Like DC was always darker anyway, so it should be like this.
I agree.
Yeah.
This is a random question about just the Batman and like Batman in general. Is it the situation where like Sony and Spider-Man is Prime and Batman now the thing? Is that how it works? So I feel like everything is becoming Prime Batman.
I don't know. I don't know if they did a deal because Warner Brothers Animation is still on this project.
Right.
Yeah. So it's weird. It's like DC, Warner Brothers Animation, and Amazon Prime. It's hard to almost follow the chain of command now. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's either Prime or Disney at this point with movies. So I don't know where that's at. Let us know in the comments. Is it the situation like Sony and Spider-Man? And I don't know.
I think they just have to latch. You know what I mean? Like at this point, you just kind of have to latch onto somebody.
Some type of streaming service.
Yeah, because you got like 5 major streaming services, platforms, and if you're not part of them, you're kind of left in the dust.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what other option do they have? Straight to video.
Right.
Like that's dead in the water.
Just
You're gonna
put it on
this,
YouTube.
Yeah. Are you gonna put this like in theaters? Like that's not gonna work. I mean, yeah, they'd probably be better off just putting it on YouTube if they're not joining up with like an Amazon Prime or Netflix or something like that.
And I wonder if Prime just made a deal like, hey, bring your next 4 Batman things to us and as a TV show instead of Apple TV or Netflix or Hulu or anything like that. And that's probably what it's looking like.
If I remember correctly, I believe that this was a Netflix series and Netflix canceled it and then Prime swooped in and picked it up. Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I'll have to look at that. I wish I knew that for sure, but I'm pretty sure that this was mentioned somewhere else and then canceled, and then Prime picked it up.
Well, I'm glad Prime picked it up because it looks great, and I'm excited about this one. It makes me want to go watch the previous animated series because I love Batman, and I just don't remember them as much as I wish I did because it was when I was a kid, a very small kid at that time. So
Dude, I watch the animated series all the time. I've got the box set. I literally just pop it in. It's one of my shows that I just put on when I just want like some background noise. I watch it all the time, dude. It still holds up. It's great. But yeah, pretty star-studded lineup here too. So we'll run through that real quick. Hamish Linklater is going to play Batman. Christina Ricci is going to play Catwoman, which I thought was really cool. Jamie Chung is going to play Harley. Jimmy Chung has my heart. She's so pretty.
yeah,
She's so pretty.
I don't think I know what she looks like, to be honest. I'll have to look her up.
Yeah, look her up. She's so pretty. I thought this one was interesting. Do you remember when we did the guess all the people that played Batman?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember that Dietrich Bader was on that list? He's actually in the show and he's playing Harvey Dent, not Batman.
Interesting.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny. Also, we got Haley Joel Osment, whose character has yet to be named, and I'm going to throw it out there and say that I do believe that Haley Joel Osment, I know he's older now, but he still has a little bit of that younger kind of voice to him. I would not be surprised if he ends up being Robin. Minnie Driver is also in this series, who I would not be surprised would end up being Poison Ivy. And again, I know the Joker has not been confirmed, but Joe DiMaggio is listed in the cast of credits. If you guys don't know, Joe DiMaggio has played the Joker before, so there's a little foreshadowing that the Joker most likely will be in this series for season 2. And I do believe that it's going to be him that will be playing the Joker, which he did great. He's not Mark Hamill, but if I had to pick a number 2, he did great.
You mean you're not going to pick Jared Leto?
Get out.
No, I'm just kidding. But okay, yeah, I'm excited. For this.
And I'm really excited that they're kind of bringing in some lesser known villains. So we talked about Harley, we talked about Penguin, all those are great. Bringing in Firebug, I thought was really, really cool. So if you guys don't know who Firebug is, he was in the trailer. He literally looks like a bug and spraying fire all over the place. His name is Joe Rigger. He is from Batman 318 was his first appearance. He's like a soldier and a demo expert. We've also seen Natalia Knight, which in the comic book she was called Nocturna, but I always thought she was a really cool character. She was from Detective Comics 529. She ended up like building this stargazer thing and then got hit with like a radioactive beam that kind of took all of her pigment away, which made her very sensitive to light, which is why she's called Nocturna, kind of like nocturnal. But yeah, she has the power to like teleport and all these cool things. She's a really cool character. And the last one is the Gentleman Ghost. I don't know if anybody knows who the Gentleman Ghost is, but I've always really loved this character, and to see this incantation in this series come to life is really cool. The Gentleman Ghost is from Flash 88, all the way back in 1947. His name's Jim Craddock. He was basically an Englishman in like the 1800s, and he ended up dying in the 1800s. He was hung, and then he came back. So he came back as a ghost. He's a legit ghost.
Normally it's just a guy putting a mask on saying, "Ooh, yeah," and like that's another thing about like all the Batman like villains. Typically, it's like a human that has some type of tragic background. And I mean, this ghost has a tragic background, and all of the villains in general have a tragic background. But one I thought was kind of funny that really didn't is, and I've actually never heard of this villain except for this show, is Onomatopoeia. And like, there's not much known about who his like original, like who he really is aside from Onomatopoeia, and his powers are just weird. He can mimic any sound. Like, that's such a strange thing, and it's really cool that I didn't know that he was just like a very deadly assassin and like mercenary, and I thought it was really cool, and like this no real emotion to him aside from I'm a stone cold killer, and that's kind of cool,
kind of badass.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's such a weird villain name too, Onomatopoeia.
Very weird. Yeah, so I thought it was cool. We're obviously getting the representations of all the people that you want to see, but we're also getting some B-sides, some lesser known people, which I think is kind of cool. It keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting.
Yeah, the only one that they're missing for me is Kite Man. I'm just kidding.
Or Ratcatcher.
Yeah, such random ones. Ratcatcher's coming on the MetaQuest 3. Don't forget about that.
We got so
The
much
Arkham
hate about the
Shadows, yeah.
about crapping on the rat catcher.
But
He's a fine villain, guys.
Yeah.
He's fine. I'm just saying, like leading role villain. I don't know.
who knows? We'll have to play it. We'll have to get the MetaQuest 3 and join the group that's playing it, but
Yeah.
not for me yet.
But yeah,
So
guys, it should be amazing. Drops on Prime Video August 1st. All 10 episodes will drop. I'm super excited for this one. I will be watching all 10 the second that they drop, and I will report back to you to let you guys know what you
I'll say that
what
could
I
be our
think.
first show that we review together. So keep an eye out for that, everybody.
Super, super excited for this one. It's gonna be great.
It is. It is. With that said, Dave, is Batman one of the best animated shows ever? Would you put that up there? Let's find out.
I'm not gonna answer that. So,
You can't answer that now,
until we
right?
decide who goes first. We decided we are gonna do a draft of the best animated series of all time, and we do have the coin.
Woohoo! Two-Face coin.
Oh, you know it, baby.
All right. Well, this is the draft of the best animated TV shows ever. Dave.
Batman
Letter it.
animated
Oh.
Batman animated series,
Oh,
without a doubt, number one.
okay. Without a doubt. Just
With
no hesitation. Actually, I foresaw that coming. Is that right? Foresaw? I foresee.
the writing was on the wall.
Writing was on the wall. Just
Yeah.
on the wall. Batman animated series. There's nothing else Dave was gonna pick. Okay, well, I didn't really go to the superhero realm with a lot of these shows. I mean, I definitely could have like animated Spider-Man, X-Men, but
Uh-huh.
truthfully, I didn't watch a lot of those. Those are like my very young age of like growing up. So mine are kind of a little bit more sprinkled here and there of randomness. But my first choice or my first pick of the animated series is Looney Tunes.
That's a great pick.
Yeah, definitely up there with Batman. Maybe not quite up there, but it's very close.
That was on my list too. And guys, I just kind of did a brief look over of my list, and I'm concurring with Adam. A lot of these are not comic book stuff.
Yeah.
I think I only have like 3 of them.
Right.
So,
And not to say that they weren't great because they all are, but my memory wise, I went with stuff I could remember. I'm like, I love that show.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, great pick. Okay, number 2 on my list, I'm going to go with South Park. I know that the recent kind of years of South Park haven't been really up to snuff, but that was a show that I watched for like 20 years consistently. It always delivered. It was always funny. Yeah, I know the latter parts of the series haven't been that great, but like if you look at it as a whole, I mean they've been on the air for like 30 years.
Right. And
a
I think
great
that's
show.
a very solid pick. Again, I never really watched South Park. I just don't think the comedy didn't hit well with me, I guess. I was never that dark, like gritty humor. Like I was always the what knock knock, who's there? Like that was me. I wasn't this like you know what I mean? I was almost like goody two shoe when it came to my jokes, I guess. Like,
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, you know, it probably doesn't hit for everybody. I remember like when South Park first came out, I had to get my mom to buy me the VHS tapes from Media Play so that I could watch them.
Yeah.
That's how old it is.
Right. But it's a good show. And it's not a good show for me, but it's a good show in general. And with that, my second pick is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I knew that was on your list.
Such a solid show. Like to me, I don't think Nickelodeon has released a story like a legit story-driven TV show quite like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I don't think they have either.
Yeah,
they
it's
never
so
really
good.
they never really taken a show that seriously.
Yeah.
I feel like they took that story very serious.
Yeah.
Like they almost wanted to make it for like an older audience.
Yeah.
It's like we have kid shows. This one's for like an older group. People that want like some substance.
Yeah, and like you said, Batman animated series is the one that you could throw on and just have it on. That is the show for me. I probably watched the Avatar like 6 times straight through, like binge watched it straight through. I just love it. And Legends of Korra, I liked it, but not quite as much. I felt like Avatar: The Last Airbender really hit more and had a lot more like substance in terms of like the what's the word I'm looking for? Not the metaphors, the deeper meaning.
Yeah,
Like I
deeper
feel like
meaning.
the show had a
Yeah.
lot more deeper meaning to it than some of the other cartoons that I'm going to mention here.
Yeah, no, that's a great
Mm-hmm.
pick. Deserves to be on the list. Okay, I'm gonna ruin it now because Adam picks a show with a bunch of substance, and then my third pick is gonna be Beavis and Butthead.
I like it. I like it.
Beavis and Butthead was my childhood.
Yeah,
dude.
that was another one that's like
Yeah.
dry humor. It's
Yeah,
so stupid, but it's
it's
a
so
good show.
it's so stupid and so dumb. I just remember watching it was Beavis and Butthead and Daria, and then I was like, yeah, just that's my childhood right there.
Yeah, that's all these are, to be honest. Right. My third pick is Scooby Doo.
That was on my list too.
Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? I
That's a
love that
good
show.
pick.
I liked
love
everything
Scooby-Doo.
about Scooby Doo. I loved the actual TV series, but also like the spin-offs, like our pup named Scooby Doo and the little guys, how they dance. Oh man, that's such a funny incantation of Scooby Doo.
Yeah, I love Scooby Doo, but I remember being a little frustrated when I was a kid because I kind of figured out. Did you know that 9 times out of 10, the person who's like the bad guy of the episode is always the first person that you see who's not in the crew?
Yep, pretty much. That's how it goes. It's like the one that gives them the tour of the haunted mansion, and you're like, oh, I wonder who it's gonna be. That guy,
Jankies, it's Mr. Roberts, and you're
Right.
like, yeah, duh.
Yeah, he's only in the first minute for 10 seconds. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that guy was random. I wonder why he's what was he all about? And it turns out he's the bad guy.
They're like, Freddy, get him.
Yeah.
Clearly that guy.
Yeah, right. Just punch him. You have it done right there, Scooby. All right.
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
That's a great pick. All right. Next up on my list, I'm going to go with I'm gonna do it. We're gonna go back to the comic world, kind of, but we're gonna go with Transformers. Number 4 on my list, Transformers.
Good one. I like that choice.
I love the Transformers. If I'm going to be honest, guys, if you watch the Transformers now, doesn't really hold up.
No.
But if you go back to 1991, before school started, Transformers was the dopest thing ever.
Yeah, I still wasn't even a thought at that point, Dave.
Adam, if you go back to 1998 and you watch reruns of
Okay,
Transformers,
I'm not that young either, but no, that's good. I like that pick. I never really watched Transformers. Again, it's just a little bit more before my time. And even Scooby Doo was before my time, but it was like South Park. It just had more and more and it just kept going on. And that's going to go into my fourth pick. Very similar. Actually, just celebrated their 25th anniversary, and that is SpongeBob.
I was expecting this to be way higher on
Yeah,
your list.
SpongeBob was number 4.
Did you just know it was safe?
I
Is
knew
that,
it
is
was
that why
safe,
it's number
yeah.
4?
Yeah, I didn't think you would pick SpongeBob. Newer SpongeBob, I don't know the last time I actually watched an episode of SpongeBob, but new stuff is just meh.
I mean,
It's like the South Park thing. I think partially
Yeah.
it's me growing up, and 2, it's just not as good.
I think that's part of it. Is like, yeah, we're getting a little bit older, so it's like maybe it loses that luster.
Right.
But you gotta look at it as a whole. You gotta look at the series as a whole.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
No, that's a great pick. Okay, last on my list, we are going to go with propane and propane accessories. Little King of the Hill.
That was actually very good.
Was that good?
That was very
That was a
good.
good Hank.
Yeah, very good, Hank. I don't think I can do that. Propane. Yeah, not as good as yours. That was solid, Dave. But good
Dude,
pick.
I love King of the Hill.
That's a good one. I don't think
Such a,
that's another one. I just didn't understand the humor at my age that growing up, so that's why it didn't really hit for me.
he was so dry, but that was like that was the point.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was supposed to be just this like average guy, just just average dad,
Just enjoying life.
and he just played it so well.
Right. Right.
Everything was like he was so trim and proper,
Yep.
but in a like
A hillbilly way.
in a southern dad kind of way,
Yeah.
where it's like you don't do that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's so
That's a great pick. That's a great pick. Okay, my final pick. So I think I know which one you think I'm gonna say, but I've used this one in so many other drafts, so I'm gonna kind of change it up a little bit. My final pick is Hey Arnold.
He didn't do it.
Yeah, I did not
Move
do
it, football head.
Yeah, move on over, football head. But I love Hey Arnold. That was another one. Just growing up, it made me like I want to be Arnold. I want to be that cool kid that like everybody likes, and for a whole bunch of different reasons, and have this cool little attic skylight room. Like I wanted to be Arnold. It was the coolest show.
Arnold's room was like the coolest room that you could have when you
Yeah.
were a kid.
And
Yeah.
the coolest is it his aunt or grandma? It was his grandma.
Yeah, his grandma. And his
Yeah.
grandpa was hilarious.
Yeah.
The
that's-
grandpa was hilarious. I eat too many raspberries.
Yeah, that's who I would want to be. And then have like somebody like Helga always like, oh, Arnold, but not really know it. Like, I don't know. And then like the other girl, like, Arnold, I love you. I don't know. It's just cool. Like he's the cool kid on the block, but he doesn't try.
He's cool without trying to be
Yeah.
cool.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a great pick.
There's definitely some that we're gonna get a lot of heat for. So
Yep.
some honorable mentions here for me is Samurai Jack, Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Laboratory, and then
Oh,
of
God.
course, The Simpsons. Sorry, Simpson fans, just not for me.
I know. I can't believe we had this list without The Simpsons.
Yeah,
The Simpsons is great, but it's just kind of like it wasn't ever my favorite.
it wasn't my go-to.
No, it was always just like, okay, The Simpsons is on. Like,
Yeah.
it's like how we were talking about Mario games.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Done.
It's like, oh, another Simpsons episode. Like,
Yep.
it's great, sure, but I'm not like, I'm not
The
juiced.
Simpsons are on. Let's go watch it. Let's sit down,
Exactly.
everybody, family. Yeah,
Yeah, you're not juiced about it.
yeah. It wasn't
Sorry,
one I was
Simpsons fans.
excited like every week, like like I was for the Avatar. Next episode of the Avatar, I had to sit down at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time so I could watch it at this time, and it was me trying to figure out like, okay, it says 7 p.m. Eastern Time. What is that my time? And I never could figure it out, and I'd always try watching it Eastern Time. And it's like, where's my show? It was so funny.
Funny story. Back in the day, I used to have to go to daycare. So I would not get home until like 6 o'clock, and I loved the Power Rangers so much. You know, I love the Power Rangers. This is how old I am. I would have to set my VCR with a timer to record a specific station so that I could watch the Power Rangers. And I wish I had those tapes because they had all the 90s commercials on it and
That's
everything.
awesome. That's
Oh,
really
it'd be
good.
so sick.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, okay. Honorable mentions for me, Ren and Stimpy. Of course, had to throw the X-Men on here. The Real Ghostbusters, which I think is a great series that doesn't get enough credit. And DuckTales. Woohoo.
DuckTales. That's a good one.
Love me some DuckTales.
There's
I was
also-
never really a Disney kid, but DuckTales was
Yeah.
dope.
I was never a big Disney kid. Although, Kim Possible. Dang,
Kim Possible's
that was a
okay.
good one. Trying to think of other one. Ed, and Eddie was probably one we could have mentioned. Or I could have
I
mentioned.
lived through the Powerpuff Girls phase. Do you remember the
Powerpuff Girls?
You remember the
Yeah.
Powerpuff Girls? They were huge.
They were boss, man. They were the coolest girls ever.
They were like the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself so much right now.
All right.
People below 20 are like, who are the Spice Girls?
Yeah, who's Powerpuff Girls? But let us know in the comments who or which shows are your top animated series, or what's your number one. Let's let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear it. I'm sorry for leaving out The Simpsons and other things like American Dad. I forgot about that one too.
Futurama.
Futurama,
There's a billion. Rick and Morty. Good God, we're dead.
That's news. Yeah.
Yeah, we're done for.
Yep. Comments
you
galore.
guys.
Let us know. But let's move on to the next. Well, this is our first movie of the night. We just had our TV show, Gladiator II. Dave, so I know we were talking about this. This movie is a sequel to the first one that came out almost 25 years ago.
Basically 25 years ago, yeah.
Sitting at 24, creeping up on 25. It is a sequel to the first one, so I can give a little recap. Would you like me to give a little recap to everybody?
Yeah, give a little recap because I'm not sure if everybody knows even what happened in the first movie.
Yeah. Basically, it's the Roman Empire in, what year was it? Like 1880 AD or something like that. 180 AD. I think that's
Yeah.
what it is. Okay.
But
And essentially, General Maximus, who is the main character, leads his army to victory against the Germanic barbarians. Woohoo! Right? He wins. And so the Emperor of Rome, Marcus, I'm going to butcher this, Aurelius?
Aurelius.
Thank you, Dave.
Aurelius. Yeah.
Aurelius. Was like, oh, thank you so much, Maximus. I love you, and I want you to take over as the Emperor of Rome. However, here comes the greedy son that wants to become the Emperor, Commodus.
Very well done.
Thank you, Commodus.
Also played by a very young Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes, very
Yeah.
young Joaquin Phoenix. And so he's jealous, and he ends up killing Marcus and names himself the Emperor and frames Maximus of Marcus's death, right? And so he imprisons him, and Maximus ends up escaping to later find out that his family has been lynched and burned. And yeah, essentially, Commodus has killed his family, and Maximus now he buries his family and ends up passing out. It's very random that he just passes out on his family's grave and gets imprisoned again by the I can't say the word either. essentially the people that are going to make him a gladiator, he imprisons him, and then the people that imprison him to be a gladiator turns out to be one of the gladiator people chosen to fight in the gladiator games. And in the end, this is really a quick recap. In the end, Maximus faces Commodus to get revenge in the fight and essentially kills him. Maximus dies, spoiler alert. And yeah.
Movie ruined.
Yeah, movie ruined.
Spoiler alert.
But okay, 25 years ago, you have to have had watched it by now. Unless, obviously, if you were excited about this one, you're like, what happened in the first one? Well, I just ruined it for you.
Yeah, you did do that.
I did. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Just go jump in now. You can, because I ruined it for you. But essentially, yeah, he wants revenge for his family's death, and he ends up dying in the end as well. And now, fast forward 25 years from that, kind of ironic, 25 years from when the last movie was made to the timeline of the movie, and that's where Gladiator II comes into play.
Guys, absolutely amazing movie. If you've never seen Gladiator, I know Russell Crowe has a little bit of a tarnished name at the moment, but this is very early Russell Crowe, and just delivers the performance of a lifetime, man. This is such a great movie, and honestly, I'm gonna be real honest here. I think the coolest part about Gladiator 2 is that a lot of people are going to go back and watch Gladiator 1. I think that's probably the coolest part about this movie, if we're going to be honest.
I was going to say that, and partially, so this movie has kind of come up and down in talks of being remade. It has been in talks since 2003, and so this movie came out, or like Gladiator 1 came out in 2000, and the reason why this one kind of been like dropped and picked up and dropped and picked up is they had issues with writing the script, and 2, like financial issues, difficulties, and so that's really where this movie has struggled not becoming a sequel, and it's almost kind of been forgotten. And it's almost that my question is this too late now? Is this movie too late?
That was my number one question. I'm like, why now? Like, you know, like we've seen this before, and I know I always bring up this example with Dumb and Dumber, but it's just like at some times, like, just too much time has passed. You know what I mean? It's like number 1 is a classic, like it's hit classic territory where now it's like you don't want to mess with it. Like you probably shouldn't even mess with it.
And that's kind of where I stand on it with too. And I think what's kind of not disappointing to me, but what really is, it's essentially the same movie. It's got the same plot line in a way. Yeah, it's a little different in terms of like, so shall we just roll the trailer too and kind of talk about it? Yeah. So we're just going to roll the trailer. We're kind of just, wrong trailer here. There we go. We're just going to roll the trailer and kind of talk about the plot line as it's going through. And so who you're seeing here is Lucius, who is the son of Lucilla, who is also in the first movie. And essentially Lucius...
Real quick, if you don't know who that is, so the flashbacks that we're seeing of that little kid, like you said, is the son, but the relationship, if you've never seen the movie, is the nephew of Joaquin Phoenix's character. So when he was a kid, he was present to watch Maximus kill his uncle.
Yep, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the storyline they're going for is Lucius's brothers actually imprison him, and now they want him to fight as a gladiator. And the whole premise of this movie is that Lucius wants to exact revenge and free the slavery and end the slavery in Roman times, and that's kind of what it's going on for. However, this one seems to have a lot more action in it, and I think that's where the main difference is for this one. So
yeah, there's a lot more action that we're seeing outside of the gladiator arena. Yep. In the original movie, there was obviously some war scenes, but that all kind of took place in the beginning. Yep. The original movie really took place inside of the arena, right. And the story between Maximus and all the main characters was very, very prominent. This feels like it has a lot more going on outside of that.
Right. And honestly, aside from the fact that, like, why now? I love the Roman Empire. Like, that era of history, it's one of my favorite. That and Greek mythology, like, these are my 2 favorite things in, like, one. Or not in one, because it's not Greek, obviously, but this is one of my favorite history eras. And honestly, I don't know overall feel of the movie just doesn't really fit with the Roman Empire, if that makes sense.
I 100% agree with you on both points. It's one of my favorite time periods. I'm not gonna lie. I want to love this movie so much. Like, I want to love this movie so much. But you're right, dude. It just doesn't fit. And like, if you guys are just listening, and if you're not able to see the trailer, you don't know anything about this. Like, Denzel Washington is in this movie. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, Denzel Washington isn't a fantastic actor, and Denzel's gonna do Denzel. He's going to be Denzel in this movie. He's gonna be the same kind of like vibe that he always is, which is fantastic. But for this movie specifically, it like doesn't work. Like, it doesn't fit. Like, it just doesn't fit the vibe. Like, we're listening to Jay-Z as the music. It's like, what? This is not right. Like, it just feels off.
And,
you know what I mean?
And that's kind of where I was going with it. And a lot of comments are saying it's like, oh, what did it say? I can't remember what it said, but there was one funny comment that actually mentioned the Denzel and Jay-Z comment. And like you said, Denzel is an amazing actor. He's one of my favorite actors. And
one of my favorites too.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed him in The Equalizer and a bunch of other movies. Da Vinci Code is one of my favorites, to be honest. But with this movie, I just, like you said, Denzel Washington feels like Denzel Washington in every movie he plays. And there's no change with this, and it doesn't really fit with a Roman Empire. And like you said, like, it doesn't fit in my opinion, it doesn't fit in your opinion, but
I mean, like we said, dude, like, Denzel is gonna be Denzel, and that's fantastic. I just think in the context of this movie in this time period, like, it just doesn't work. Like, it's weird. It feels off. If he feels like a character that would not be in this time period.
But what do we know? We're not the casting directors. And I wonder if, like, because the cast is pretty, like, solid. Like, everybody that's in this movie. So we have Lucius is Paul Mescal, Lucilla, who is Connie Nielsen. She was in the original. Emperor Geta, I'm probably going to say these wrong, Geta. Joseph Quinn, Marcus Acalius, that's who Pedro's playing. Macromus, and that's Denzel, and then Emperor Carsal, that's Fred Eichenberg. So the cast is a solid cast, and I think that's probably what's selling some excitement, is like, oh, it's a star-studded cast. But at the same time, it's like, does this cast work for this movie?
Do you want my honest opinion here, dude?
I'm gonna say no, it does not.
What this is really showing me is, like, I think just a bunch of, like, kind of old corporate executives kind of were, like, sitting around a table, and they were like, let's try to make something cool. Like, you know, when, like, the old guy kind of shows up and, like, he's trying to be cool, and you're, like, kind of playing along, but it's definitely not cool.
Yeah.
You know
but
what I mean?
he's
Like,
the boss.
But he's the boss, so you act like it's cool. I feel like that's exactly what happened, because if you look at it, they're like, okay, what should we do? All right, let's take a new actor who's really hot right now, Pedro Pascal, coming off The Last of Us. Let's take a very established actor, Denzel Washington, right?
Yep.
Let's take a franchise that was really popular. Let's bring that back. Let's add some trendy kind of music.
Yep.
Let's get a big name director in Ridley Scott.
Yep. Who directed the original.
Yeah, who directed the original. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like they were just like, this is like the corporate executives' idea of, like, let's make a cool movie. But it's not cool.
Let's make a cool movie that isn't an original idea.
Well, of course it's not original.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, but nothing's original anymore. But what I'm saying is, like, what can we try to squeeze as much juice out of an orange with something that's already made?
Exactly, because they know older people are gonna love it because they've loved Gladiator. It's a great movie. Then they're trying to entice a new audience to come in who's never seen Gladiator, with Pedro Pascal, who's super hot right now, with, like, adding this, like, kind of upbeat, trendy music to it. Like, I don't know. We say all the time, like, they just made video game The Game. This is like the movie.
The Gladiator, basically. It's like, how can we bring the original Gladiator movie to this decade with all the special effects and the people that are headlining today in terms of the movie industry? And that's what we have.
It's like the only thing they're missing is, like, let's jam pack a Haktua meme in there somewhere.
Oh no, here we go. But capability wise of, like, bringing a Roman, like, Colosseum Gladiator in 2024, such a cool concept. I just don't think they're nailing it in the right way with who they have and storyline. Fine, that's fine. Like they're kind of going along with it. It's kind of random in my opinion. Like, oh, who's from the first movie that was so young, but now he can bring him in? Okay, Lucius. He got kidnapped by his brother, and they're making him into a gladiator. Like, so random. But I mean, I don't. Yeah, but I'm gonna watch it because I love the first movie. I'm gonna watch the first movie again and again because it's such a good, solid piece of cinema. Like I love the movie and I'm excited to watch it again and again. But this one doesn't have my excitement as much as the first time watching like Gladiator 1.
It's a fantastic movie. The original Gladiator is a fantastic movie. If you guys have not seen it, definitely go and check it out. I know we might get a little bit of hate for what we said about Gladiator 2, but I assure you, if you look at the comments and most of these trailers, I don't know, a lot of people kind of feel the same way, man. Like there's not a lot of excitement about this movie. I'm going to watch this movie, but I'm going to go into it with extremely low expectations. Because when it comes to story or whatever, I'm already kind of knowing that, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not going to be great. So low expectations. If it is great, amazing. But I'm going into it for the sole fact that gladiators are just badass, man. And I want to see all those. I want to see all those scenes where they're fighting in the Colosseum.
I think what's going to really drive this movie to be better than the story and the cast and is the special effects and just the brutality of being a gladiator in the Roman Colosseum. And that's why I'm excited. And honestly, like at the end of the day, who knows? Maybe that's all I need it to be when I'm watching this movie and not really care about the overall story, but just see people getting destroyed, fighting a rhino coming at you. I don't know. I'm pretty excited about in that sense. But other than that, my expectations are a little more lower than I would like for this movie, but not to say I'm going to go in there saying, oh, I'm going to hate this movie. I'm going in there hoping to like it, knowing that I might be disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys are a fan of the original, I would say check it out. Keep your expectations low. If anything, you're just going to see some pretty badass fights in a Colosseum scene. And to be honest, the original scenes in the original Gladiator movie where they're fighting in the Colosseum were already badass. And now we have 25 years of improvements on special effects. Like, these are going to be sick. Yeah, they're going to be amazing.
And this one comes out November 22nd. So not right around the corner, a few months. And yeah, hopefully they release some more things to increase some hype around it. But other than that, I'm going to watch it. And with that said, Dave, I changed up the game for you.
I'm so nervous.
So we were originally going to do name the franchise 20 words or less. But I'm changing it, Dave, to name the movie based off the bad description. What do you think?
I'm so nervous right now.
I saw it at a baseball game. When I was at a baseball game recently, and that's what they had, one of the like in between innings. I was like, I want to do that. So I have some bad descriptions here. So this is name the movie based off the bad description. And are you ready?
Full disclosure, I could get 0 of these correct.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm ready.
Your first description: an office worker does drugs to learn kung fu.
What?
An office worker does drugs to learn kung fu.
The Matrix.
Boom! Look at that.
Let's go.
Right off the bat. I have 5, by the way. Okay.
Oh, God.
Next, talking frog convinces son to kill his dad. That might be a little out there. Talking frog convinces son to kill his dad.
Do you have more? Like,
No. That's the movie. That's the description I'm giving you for that whole movie. Series. It's a series.
talking frog. Talking frog. What
Don't-
movie has a talk?
Don't look at a talking frog like at face value. It's not actually a frog, but that's what. Yeah, that's how it's described.
Star Wars.
Yeah, there you go. Good.
Is
Yeah.
Yoda the talking frog?
Yoda's a talking frog.
Oh my god, this is so hard. This is
Okay.
so hard. Okay, 2 out of 2. Let's go.
Okay. Next, man saves woman from drowning woman does not return the favor.
Oh, Titanic.
There you go. Yeah. you
There
can
was
see-
plenty of room on that
Yeah.
door, Rose.
Yeah. Come on, Rose. All right. That was great. Great job. Okay.
I'm crushing this, bro.
Yeah. 3 out of 3. Okay. Next up. Drunk guy tries to prevent his boat from being repossessed. Drunk guy tries to prevent his boat from being repossessed.
Captain Ron.
Nope.
Drunk guy tries to prevent his boat from being repossessed. Drunk guy. His boat from being repossessed.
Need a hint?
Yeah.
Repossessed. R.
Yeah, Captain. Oh, Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
Oh
Do you
my
know which one
God.
specifically?
No.
Me either. But okay, next.
Adam's getting crazy, guys. Adam's getting crazy.
Yeah, last one here. Man plays VR Smurf game.
Shut up. Man plays VR Smurf game. Little blue guys. Little blue guys.
Or big blue
Avatar.
guy. Yeah, there you go.
Let's go.
Good. You didn't need my hint. You got basically 5 out of 5. A little bit of a hint with Pirates of the Caribbean. I think it's Black Flag, to be honest. Or
Is it?
What's not Black Flag? What's the black ship? What is it? Black something.
The Black Pearl.
Black Pearl. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going
I
for.
think it's that one.
But yeah, let us know in the comments. Did you get those right? I thought it was a fun little game. Dave, did you like it?
Love that game.
Yeah. I thought
That's
that
a
was more fun than, or not more fun, less stressful than the 20 words or less.
You really have to think about it,
Yeah,
though.
you do.
Yeah, you really do.
You do. All
I'm
right.
sorry that I paused, guys, but I had to think.
Hey, the short won't show the pauses.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, moving on to our first game of the night and the only game of the night. To the Star, Dave, with no release date. I'm gonna be honest. This one is not for me.
No?
No, and I'll tell you why.
Okay,
This
go ahead.
is Alice in Wonderland, Harry Potter, the game, crafting survival game.
This
the
is the
game.
This is the forest inspired by Alice in Wonderland.
But worse.
Do you think it's worse?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Just okay, there's a lot I think wrong with this game, but let's roll the trailer. I'll let you describe the trailer as we're watching it, and maybe I'll say, hey, this is why I don't like it. So here it is.
Okay, guys, if you guys are just listening, what we're looking at right now is a fragment of a star plummeting towards a planet, and like I said, my kind of idea for this game is like this is basically the forest inspired by Alice in Wonderland, and I think what's really cool about this game is just like the entire vibe of everything. Like we're watching right now and he's walking through this crazy landscape where the grass is purple and like all of this stuff is happening. Like this doesn't like it's just like so colorful and fun, you know, like you're not excited about it at all.
No, there's one thing I think is really cool with that. I'll definitely make sure to mention. Okay, so I know the colors are very like vibrant, but at the
Oh
same
yeah,
time,
it's so sick.
it's all mushing together, and it's hard to like. And that's where I kind of lost it. And you know me, I love bright colors and explosions and a bunch of all stuff like this, but I don't think it's like separating itself very well.
You know what? Like I feel you there. Like I understand that, but I think so. Like we said, guys, this game is inspired by Alice in Wonderland. I think that's exactly what Alice in Wonderland was. It was kind of like that, where everything just kind of like blended together because you're in this like. You're in such a unique space that it's like nothing like this has ever existed before.
Yeah, but for me, I don't know. I just don't think that they're doing it in a way that like, yes, it's a bunch of bright colors, but I don't think the bright colors are like a good, like, I don't think they mesh well together. Like, I really don't think like the background and the foreground are separated very well. I don't think like the characters and the things you're supposed to be finding are separated very well.
Do you think it's too visually stimulating? Is that kind of what you're saying? Like there's just too much happening?
Which is weird because I love games like that. You know me, like I'm like the more the merrier, but for whatever reason, this one is just not standing out to me in the sense of like the visual, can I say that word? Visualization. Can you say that word?
Visualization. Oh my God. Visualization.
That's a hard word.
That's a crazy hard word.
But anyway, I think that's where I'm kind of like stumped with it right now. And I think it's because the animations are kind of janky, and like the way like the character moves in a way are kind of janky. And
Yeah.
and to me, like the character models remind me of Fortnite models. Like
They
it
do.
literally just seems like they just stole Fortnite models and slapped them in the game. And that's partially why I didn't like it as well. And I just think, I don't know. I think I'm getting the sense like we had this conversation with, what game was that?
Tears of Metal.
Tears of Metal. Or no, not Tears of Metal. It was that first person shooter. Was it Avowed maybe?
Oh yeah, was it Avowed?
It was one of those games where it's like a first person shooter that had mystical powers that had this and that and this and that. It's like first person shooter, the game. And that's kind of what I'm getting. Alice in Wonderland Crafter, the game. And you know what I mean? Like I feel like they're smacking stuff together. And that's kind of where I'm at with this.
Maybe I might be able to steer you in a different direction here because I think.
I have one more thing that I'm not really happy about with this game. So
Okay, tell me the one thing that you're not happy about with it.
and this is gonna get like kind of maybe a hypocritical kind of situation, but and like so at the bottom there's a disclaimer in their Steam page, and what it says is they used AI to completely generate the idea, how to mix things together. And don't get me wrong, I'm being a hypocrite saying like it'd be hypocritical of me to say, oh, I've never used AI before. But I think I can see it. Like I can see the AI working into the game. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like they're making the game. It feels like they used everything from like, okay, you know, it's like you go to the AI generator, like, okay, give me 10 ideas for this game. And then, so it gives you the 10 ideas. And then it's like, smack it all into one. That's what I'm getting from this game.
Does it say that they use the AI to create the idea of the game?
They said they use it throughout their developmental process.
Yeah, but they didn't use it to create the idea of the game, did they?
I'll pull it up on Steam, but that is one thing. Like, and again, it would be hypocritical of me to say like, oh, I've never used AI for anything, because that's completely false. Because I have, and I've never like, you know what I mean. But I'm just the way they described it in this here. I'll go to the disclaimer here. Let me pause the trailer real quick. AI tools have been like an extra set of hands or brains for our small indie developed team. They've played a quiet yet invaluable role in helping us draft initial concept art and brainstorm through our tricky design challenges. Being polished native speakers, AI has also particularly been helpful in the fine-tuning of our writing, ensuring our game's narrative is engaging as possible. However, it is important to note that we do not use AI to generate any direct graphical or audio content for the game, nor do we use it to generate in-game content. So really, they use the AI to create the visualization of the game and like their whole concept of the game.
I don't know. I think I think you have to just see how you're kind of reading that. I don't know if to me that doesn't read that they used AI for the idea of the game. To me that reads like we used AI to create some very like interesting, like we needed help with ideas of how to make weird stuff to put in this game.
Well, here's my thing. If that's the case, like where'd they get the Alice in Wonderland inspiration? You know what I mean? Like they didn't just say, "Oh, I want an Alice in Wonderland game." I wonder if like give us a concept that is weird and like, "Oh, make a Alice in Wonderland inspired crafting game."
What if they did have the Alice in Wonderland idea though first, and they were like, "We're making an Alice in Wonderland inspired crafting game. Give me 5 visualizations of different plants that would exist in this world."
I suppose. And I guess, okay, I'll take a step back on that. Maybe I'm overreading it or overthinking it. And because people use assets of Unreal Engine all the time. Like people like grab it and use it for their game. So, okay, I could see that. So let me take a step back. People steal others' ideas all the time. So what's the difference from using like something that's going to steer more towards the game? Okay. All right. So maybe I'm reading into that part too much, but it's just weird that they have to have that as a disclaimer on their page.
I think it's actually kind of
Commendable.
I think it's kind of commendable that they even put it out there.
Yeah, that's true. They could have been like, "Oh, we came up with that."
Yeah, I feel like a lot of indie studios are probably using AI, but no one's saying that.
Right.
People that you work with in your everyday life are using AI.
That's true.
I mean, like, if you ask somebody to write a video script for you, they're putting that in Chat GTP and then they're changing a couple words. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're like
Yeah.
that's just how the world works now. So I'm not like, I don't know, I'm not like super turned
Yeah.
off by this, if I'm gonna be honest.
I think it's probably me just being hypocritical and overall just like trying to find a reason to hate a game for no reason. Granted, I still don't like it because of the animation style and the whole not really meshing well together. I think that's partially like, and I'm just trying to find other reasons. Like, okay, I don't like this game because of this, and that was one of them. But okay, I'll take a step back. I'll recant what I was saying with the AI and move on from that. But
Okay. I do agree with you with the animations. It's a little bit janky, but I'm gonna be honest. I give it a little bit of a free pass just because I always kind of give indie smaller developers a little bit of a free pass here. Um, it does look a little janky. The visualization I think is just a preference. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it, and I can see why you wouldn't. Like I can see both sides of the coin where it's like, ooh, this is very bright, this is very colorful, this is very much like Alice in Wonderland, I love it, or like this is all bleeding all over the place and it's too much and it's like overstimulating me and I hate it. Like I understand both sides of the coin there. Um, I think a little bit about the game though, if you really kind of peel back some layers on this game, it's actually really kind of interesting. So like like, and I think the thing that brought this to my attention was just the fact that I've been so knee deep in the forest right now. I think this is really going to be the forest, but in Alice in Wonderland style world. I mean, this is very much, same kind of vibe. You're literally just you are a character. You're in a world that you know nothing about. You're kind of learning the story as you're going. You're crafting. You're surviving. You're solving puzzles. You're fighting enemies. Like this is the forest. This is the forest in an Alice in Wonderland world, and I'm kind of excited about that. And I think if you peel back some layers, there's a little bit more to this game. Basically, the storyline is why it's called To the Star is you're kind of on this mission to figure out this mystery of the star, right? And you watch this fragment of the star come down, hit the planet that you're on, and you start trekking towards the star to like learn about it. And on your way, you're going to be finding pages of your father's journal, which details adventures that he had on this planet. And you're kind of learning about him. You're kind of recreating the things that he did when he was here. You're finding clues about mysteries on the island. Like you're figuring out why, because you're on this island, you're on this world alone. So you're figuring out like why your father left you here. So I mean, like there's a story here to kind of unravel, and the mechanics behind it are really kind of fun. Like it's that crafting that I love. It's the co-op crafting. It's gonna be 4 players. I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of really interesting things that you can do in this. Like you can farm, you can nurture creatures, so you can have like little companions that are going with you. Like it has a really in-depth crafting system. There's combat focus with like buffs. I mean, I don't know. There's more to this game than I think people are really talking about.
yep, and I will say the coolest mechanic I thought with this game is so your base or your place of like building is its own world. So you have what's called the briefcase, and the briefcase, how they describe it, is
The
essentially
brief base.
yeah, the briefcase. There you go. The briefcase is essentially a world on your back, and so every time you like need to put something into your world or your base, is you gain the resources from the main world, and I think that's a really cool concept. And so that's one of the positive things that I took away from the trailer, and I think that's really cool. And it has the similar like mechanic as Pal World, where you can catch creatures and throw them into your world, and they can by the way you farm and gain other resources, they can upgrade and breed to have different abilities, which I thought was really cool. Another thing that go ahead.
You know what I kind of think of when I think of this brief base kind of idea? It's just like your room in Hogwarts.
That's exactly where I was thinking too.
It's like your safe space where if you want to just go and like build stuff and craft stuff and like kind of, you don't want to be attacked or do anything like that. Like this is your safe space where you can kind of just do your thing, not have to worry about any type of, enemies and stuff like that. And then when you want to pop back out, the cool thing about the brief base is that when you want to pop back out into the real world, you can pull things from here. So like say you craft like weapons and buildings and stuff like that. You can pull them from your brief base, put them into the real world for a second, use them the way that you need to use them, put them back. I think it's kind of a cool idea.
That is definitely a much more unique game mechanic than the overall feel of the game to me. So you know what I mean? Like, and it's a small developer, like you had mentioned, and obviously it's going to be janky in the sense that all indie games have some sort of bug or jankiness to them most of the time. And I just think that mechanic may do it for me in the sense I'll try this game because of that. And one other thing that I thought was really cool is they're leaving it open for like extensive mod work. So like people that love modding games and things like that, it's really cool. So like if you really want it to feel like Alice in Wonderland, you'll be able to mod it to feel like Alice in Wonderland. Not me, because I don't know the first thing about modding any game. But in overall, that's really cool for the community to really make some really unique and cool mods for the game.
Yeah, and I think one cool thing about that is like even just the fact that they're kind of leaving this open says a lot to me about the fact that like they're very focused on the community and the player base here. So like, I think they're gonna try to. I don't know. This doesn't just feel like a cash grab situation or like just something to buy the time until the next release. Like it. I don't know. It might not be a big title. It might not be the most amazing title, but it feels like something that like they're proud of, and I don't know. I just get the sense that like they want to put out a good game for the community, like something that people would enjoy.
I agree. But again, it was hard for me to look past some of the jankiness, and I'm glad we kind of talked through the AI situation and like, you know what I mean? So I'm glad that kind of took me a step back with that, and the mechanics might get me into it by itself. And you know me, like I'm not into the forest, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I mean, yeah, guys, if you guys are into the forest or anything like this, give this one a look because I think it's gonna be really, really cool. If you're into like crafting games, survival games, if you're into Alice in Wonderland, I think this has a place for it. If you're into just really colorful, kind of creative like ideas, indie style games, I mean, I think there's a lot of aspects of this game that's gonna draw some players in. It is an indie title. It's a smaller studio, so it might be a little janky. So I mean, go into it with a grain of salt. But I think it's gonna be better than advertised. And I haven't seen anything on this game. Like, did you find anybody talking about this game anywhere? Yeah, I didn't find anybody talking about it anywhere, which is kind of crazy to me. So I just thought it was a cool game to kind of bring to the table. No one's really talking about. Maybe something to keep your eye on if you're into that style.
Well, Dave, it's kind of got a fairy tale feel.
Inspired by one of the coolest fairy tales of all time.
Yeah, I would agree. With that, I think it's time to do a draft of the best fairy tales. Flip that coin, see who goes first.
Oh, I didn't catch it.
Oh.
You win.
Oh, I win one. What?
You won.
What?
I didn't. The coin has re-weighted itself since being stuck under my couch for 4 weeks.
Good. All right, introduce us, Dave.
All right, guys, this is going to be a draft of the greatest fairy tales of all time.
Ooh, hey. This was kind of a hard list for me to come up with. I'm not going to lie.
You know what? I thought this was going to be a hard list, and then I was like, when you made this list, did you find so many things that you were like, whoa, that's a fairy tale? Like that was a book before it was a movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found a lot of those.
Kind of.
So it made it a lot easier.
Yeah, I suppose. All right, well, kicking it off here, my first pick is Red Riding Hood.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, I love that one. And
Yeah,
I
that's a
can't
great
remember
pick.
what the name of the movie is, but like there's like a cartoon or an animated movie that's based off of it, but it was called something different. But I really like that movie.
And all the horror movies inspired by the Red Riding Hood.
It's
So
kind of
great.
scary. Like, could be a very scary setting. So, Red Riding Hood is my number one.
That's a great
cool
pick.
Story. Cool story.
Yeah, good story. Okay. Number one on my list, I'm going super basic, and I don't care. I am taking Alice in Wonderland as my favorite fairy tale of all time.
I can see that.
The original book is like, dude, if you read the Lewis Carroll Stevens book, like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And he wrote that in like the 60s.
Yeah. It's
Just
insane.
the ideas, you're like, what is this dude on?
Yeah, on a lot of things back then. Okay. Well, my second pick is Robin Hood.
That's a great pick.
Yeah, and I love Robin Hood. I love the Disney version of Robin Hood. I love the live action. I love the bloody, gory ones. I love Gangs of Sherwood, the game. Just Robin Hood is one of my favorite fairy tales.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great pick.
Yep.
Okay. Number two on my list, we're going to go with Peter Pan.
Ooh, solid pick. I did not
Thank
have
you.
that one on my list. Dang
Yeah.
it.
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, if you read the original fairy tale, Captain Hook's a badass.
Yeah, he really
He's
is.
a badass in the original fairy tale.
Okay, dang it. I'm kind of at a loss here now. Okay.
You're good.
Well, my third pick is this one is just kind of like nostalgic for me. My third pick is Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
I love that story.
Yeah, it's such a like wholesome one. Like she's just trying to like, you know.
Where else do you get to hear people talk about porridge nowadays?
Yeah. When's the last time you heard that word? I'm gonna go have some porridge in my
I'm gonna
house.
go have some I don't even know what porridge is. Porridge is
It's like
just
a soup,
oatmeal,
right? Oh, is
right?
it? I have
Is
no
it just
idea.
oatmeal? I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
it's just oatmeal.
I have no idea. Let's do a quick
Por-
Google search.
Porridge is oatmeal, guys.
I think so. Let's see. Porridge is it's similar to oatmeal, but there's a what's the difference between oatmeal and porridge? What is porridge? Oatmeal. Blah, blah, blah.
Somebody wrote their PhD thesis on this or something.
Oatmeal can be turned into a type of porridge.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but porridge is oatmeal basically.
Hashtag porridge is oatmeal. Let's start the movement, guys.
Bring porridge back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. Number 3 on my list. We're going to go back to the well, and I'm going to take the Jungle Book.
What? That's.
The Jungle Book is a fairy tale.
Is it really though?
Yeah, it is. It was a book before it was a movie.
Huh. That's how we're doing this? Okay. All right. Well, then I have some other ideas for some.
Adam is so mad.
I didn't do it like that. I mean, I guess I kind of did with Robin Hood.
Yeah.
All
Robin
right.
Hood was on my list.
All right, fine. All right.
Are you thinking like fairy tale has to be like, were you thinking like fables, like really short stories?
Yeah, like folk tales and.
Oh,
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
You didn't explain it very well, but that's fine. My fourth pick, is that what we're on?
Yeah, fourth pick.
My fourth pick is the Three Little Pigs.
That was
My
on my
fourth pick is
list.
Three Little
I mean,
Pigs.
that was on my
I will
list.
blow your house down.
That was on my list.
Yeah,
I feel bad.
it's okay.
All
What's
right,
on
number 4. Number 4 on my list. We're gonna go Sword in the Stone. I love the Sword in the Stone.
That's a great one.
It's such a good movie. Little Archimedes, little
Mhm.
little Merlin.
Yeah, I like it.
That book was written in like the 20s.
Yeah. a
Yeah,
long time.
that's such a great story.
Okay, I have like 5 different options here for my last one, and truthfully, I'm just gonna go with this one. My final pick is Beauty and the Beast.
That's what the number 1 that I saw on numerous lists.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, I don't know, is this how cool of a character she is, and like trying to tame the beast and like show his heart? I don't know.
The candlestick and the teacup are dope.
Yeah, they are.
Like could be one of the best supporting like characters
Yeah,
in
an
the
animated
Disney
series
movies.
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, those are good. Okay, with my very last pick, I'm going to go with Jack and the Beanstalk. I always thought that was such a cool story
Yeah.
when I was a kid.
That was on my list.
Can you imagine
too.
just climbing a gigantic beanstalk into the sky?
Yeah, for some magical beans. It's pretty cool.
If anybody sells you magical beans now,
It better be
Watch
coming
out.
from Goku or from the Jack and the Beanstalk. All right.
Fit. Honorable mentions for me, I got Pinocchio,
Yep.
Aladdin, and The Dead Witch from 1889.
Okay.
Look it up.
Okay.
It is crazy.
Okay. My
That is not a
honorable
child-friendly
mention
fairy tale.
is Little Mermaid.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Under the Sea.
Under the sea. Let us know in the comments which are your favorite fairy tale / Disney movies, because that's what Dave went with. Anyway, let's keep moving on to our last movie of the night. So we had 2 movies, a TV show, and a video game. Adam
We're-
crapped on the video game, we crapped on the movie together, and we loved the Batman TV show. So moving on to our last game, Borderlands, the movie, comes out August 9th, 2024. And truthfully, I don't think this would be a good movie.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, go for it.
Are we over Kevin Hart yet? Like, are we just like, have we had enough Kevin Hart yet?
I love Kevin Hart, and there's some really good movies with Kevin Hart, but I'm getting Kevin Hart fatigue.
Yeah, me too.
Kevin Hart is like the actor of Marvel. Like, if Marvel was an actor, Kevin Hart would be Marvel. Like, that's him. Like, he's in everything and anything, and some of the roles, they work pretty good. Some of the roles do not work very good. Like, this is one that does not work very good, partially because I think of other actors, and a lot of other people think of different actors that would play a perfect Roland, and Kevin Hart is not on the top of the list of very many people.
No, because Kevin Hart's like Denzel. Like Kevin Hart is Kevin Hart in every movie. He's like Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I mean? It's like Bruce Willis. It's you know what I mean? It's the same guy in every movie.
Chris Pratt, Tom Holland, like that's not saying like the movies that they're in are bad, but the movies that they are in, like you see their role in like the same of other movies. Like when I see Tom Holland, I'm like, oh, Spider-Man. Oh, he's playing kind of like Spider-Man. No, he's playing like Tom Holland. Like Tom Holland is Tom Holland in these movies. Yeah. And yeah, I can definitely get that. Honestly, there's not like, I'm trying to think of like new age actors that
have like a dynamic range where you see them in a lot of roles and it's very believable in every single role that they're in. But then they're different people.
There's no more Morgan Freeman. There's like Christian Bale's another really good one. Like
Christian Bale is an amazing one.
Yeah, Ford versus Ferrari. And then think of like, I honestly completely forgot he was like from the UK. I thought he was American because of Batman, and then I watched Ford versus Ferrari, and this guy has a glorious British accent. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this real or is this him acting? But that's what I mean. Like there's no new age actors that can really separate their roles. I mean, I'm sure there are, but off the top of my head right now, I'm just going to the ones that like Chris Pratt, Tom Holland, Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson. Like those are the actors that you think of like they're playing themselves, or they're playing how they play in every movie.
Yeah, they play how they play in every movie. I honestly can't think of like a newer actor that has a lot of range like that. Like maybe I can't even think of one. I honestly can't even think of one off the top of my head.
Maybe, and like The Rock is another big example. The Rock is The Rock in every
The Rock
movie.
is The Rock
and
in
I
every
think that's
movie.
partially because of his size and like he just takes up the whole frame and he's just a massive dude.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, but I can see what you're saying. But other than that, and like I said, I don't think this movie is going to be good, but I don't think it has to be honest.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I did look through a bunch of the comments of all of the trailers getting posted everywhere. People are not excited for this movie.
They're really not. They're really not excited.
They're really not excited. But I think one of the things that like make people still kind of want to watch this is to just see familiar things from a game that they love. Because if you do look at the trailer, they did a pretty okay job with like the settings, with like some of the like not the main characters, but like the like
the background characters,
the background characters, and like you know what I mean. Like they did a good job with that. So I think people might just want to see this world that they love from the game come to life, and kind of maybe push all of this lead actor kind of story stuff, like just like Gladiator. This is kind of the same thing as Gladiator. It's like push all the mainstream stuff away for a second and just kind of look at the idea and pick and choose the parts that you're excited to see.
Right. Because I will say, like, I agree with you. Like, the setting and the feel of the movie feels very Borderlands, minus the fact that it's PG-13. That was like one thing, like, I didn't even realize it was PG-13 until I read the comments, and it was like, this movie should not be PG-13. If you've ever played Borderlands, this game or this movie should be gore, swear words, and just tons of nasty stuff going on. And obviously you can't get that with a PG-13 movie. However, no, Deadpool's always been rated R, right? There's never not a...
Deadpool's always rated R.
Like that's if you think of Deadpool as PG-13, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like there's no way you could make that movie PG-13. And that's the same way I feel about Borderlands. Like there's no way this movie should be PG-13.
Here's the thing, though. Did they do that for Kevin Hart?
Oh, maybe.
Did they dull this down a little bit and make it more family friendly
because of Kevin Hart?
To put Kevin Hart in the movie?
Oh, that's a good point. I have no idea. But one actor that a lot of people think that should have played Roland outside of Kevin Hart is Idris Elba, the one that we talked about last week. I think he would have been a better actor for it because Roland, like, he really doesn't have like the humor that Kevin Hart's bringing to the character, or the height. Sorry, Kevin Hart.
No, I mean the height is whatever. That's fine because I'm the short kings, whatever. But like I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like I hate to keep going back to it, but it's all like we talked about with Denzel and Gladiator. Like Kevin Hart just doesn't fit in this movie, and I feel like they put him in this movie to like hype it up. And like, it's almost like they thought like, oh, Borderlands would make a cool movie, but there's not a big enough fan base to make it worth our time. So how do we take this idea of Borderlands, make it close enough that the fans of the game are still going to come and see it, but make it mainstream enough that people that don't know what we're talking about just want to come see a Kevin Hart movie?
Exactly. And that's what's going on with this movie. And aside from Kevin Hart, some other actors in this, Claptrap is played by Jack Black. I think that fits pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a Jack Black fan.
Obviously, we already said Roland is Kevin Hart. Tiny Tina, I don't know much about. Ariana. Green Black. Apparently, she actually fits the role pretty well. She's crazy. Tiny Tina's crazy. But people are saying that she's not crazy enough to play Tiny Tina, but whatever. We have Lilith, who's played by Kate Blanchett. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that she's too old to play Lilith.
She is pretty old.
Tanis is played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who people are also saying is too old.
Very old, yeah.
Atlas is played by Edgar Ramirez. I don't know much about him. And I think this is just more of a supporting character, but I love this guy, and I love his podcast, Bad Friends, and with Andrew Santiago, and that is Bobby Lee. I love Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee's funny.
He's so funny. He plays Larry. I'm not sure who Larry is. But overall, I think that movie is just gonna, like you said, it's gonna bring Borderlands to life for the fans of the series. And for me, that's all I need, to be honest. Like, I don't think this is gonna be the best adaptation of a video game put into a movie, but I think it's gonna give me enough to get me excited to, who knows, go back to play Borderlands or play Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I can't remember the actual name of it. Something like that.
Yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Yeah, go play that. And I think that's all it needs to be. I will say, though, this movie and like the song choice and just the overall feel gives me a lot of like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, we're pulling stuff from Guardians of the Galaxy and make it Borderlands.
That's kind of the vibe that I was getting to. And also like this Jack Black, Kevin Hart team up. I'm like, now I'm just thinking like Jumanji without The Rock. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be one of those movies where you're kind of watching the movie and you can kind of pick up like what Kevin Hart and Jack Black's next lines are going to be before they say them. Do you know what I'm saying? It's going to be like that kind of movie where you're like, yep, there's the setup. Yep, this is the joke they should say. Okay, that's the joke that they said. Like, you know, and you're just like.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a dance-off scene like Guardians of the Galaxy at some point.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, and again, I think it's gonna be fine for what the movie is. It's a video game turned movie adaptation, and honestly, a lot of those aren't the greatest, to be honest. And you can look at the Mario Brothers movie. Like, was it a bad movie? No, but was it a good movie? And I think part of it is just because the adaptation of putting something that's so familiar and so loved onto the big screen and find all the Easter eggs. And like, that's why I like the Mario movies. Like, oh, that's from Mario Kart, or that's from this game. There's Donkey Kong versus Mario. Like, that's why I think it was so fun. But for this, I don't think it needs to be much more than that, to be honest. And essentially, Lilith is story-wise, plot-wise, the whole premise is Lilith is returning to Pandora to open a vault and has given the task of saving Atlas's daughter Ramirez, and teams up with the other characters. So, but there's some characters I wish they would have had in there, and like main game characters that I thought would have been really cool, like Brick, Mordecai, Zero, and a bunch of other ones that I think would have been much more cool than some of the other characters. But whatever.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that people are saying. They're kind of disappointed that the roster here isn't exactly what they thought it was going to be or what they hoped it would be. And it's like, are they leaving the door open to like introduce these characters into Borderlands 2 movie, or I don't know, dude. And like, I don't know, there's just a lot up in the air here. If I'm going to be honest, I feel like this is going to be one of those movies that's fine. Like, it's going to be fine. Like, if you wait for this to show up on a streaming service and you're a fan of Borderlands or you're a fan of Kevin Hart, it's going to be fine. It's going to be exactly what you think it's going to be. the story is gonna be kind of meh. Like you're gonna have some cool action parts. You're probably gonna have a couple laughs at some of the jokes, but it's not gonna be a movie where you're like, "This is that was amazing. I can't wait to watch it again." Like you're not telling your friends about this. You're like, "Yeah, I saw it." You know what I mean? It's just like filler.
You know what I think's happening here? I think people are starting to, like, the movie directors and these companies are realizing, okay, what have we exhausted right now? We've exhausted superheroes. Like, nobody's really excited to watch a bunch of superhero movies. Okay, what else have we exhausted? Star Wars. We've exhausted. You know what I mean? We're exhausting our things of like established movie like.
Zombies, for the love of God, guys. Zombies are exhausted. Get it through your heads.
And so I think what's happening is the movie industry is like, okay, we need something new. We need something new that it's not original, but we need something to start cramming down people's throats. And that's like video games turn movie / TV show. Like you see it Super Mario Brothers, Sonic, The Last of Us, Fallout, Mortal Kombat, Uncharted. And that's what's happening now. I think they're trying to force these games into movies because everybody's moving along now. Like they're trying to change the times because nobody wants to watch the next Marvel movie unless it's Deadpool 3, but whatever. And I think that's what's happening now is we're going to start getting so many more of these video games turned to movies, and they're not going to be great. And it's going to be, and not to say they're going to be watchable, but it's going to be the same situation where they're cramming all these movies down our throats and people are just like, okay, I don't care about this game being turned into a movie. Like, I don't care about it. So,
Like Adam said, guys, be ready for more of these. I do agree with them. I do think that they're going to be searching for easy wins. I'm going to call them, and I'm going to call them easy wins. Like we talked about, comics are kind of getting dried up here. People are a little kind of over the comic book stuff being turned into movies. But the number one reason why they like doing that is because number one, they already have a fan base, and number two, the story's already written for them. So it's very easy to translate into a movie when your story is already written and there's already a fan base that love the character. The comics are kind of dried up, so the next obvious well to go to is video games. So I think we're going to see a lot more of these video game movies. Now, like Adam said, I'd be surprised if more than a handful of them are good. I'm excited to see them. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see what they can do because they're not all going to be bad, but for the most part, my expectations are pretty low. And I think that's kind of comes with the territory of what we've gotten in the past. I think most fans are kind of feel the same way where it's like, adaptation from a video game. Like my expectations are pretty low on this movie.
I do know that one that is coming is Minecraft. Minecraft is turning into a movie. And so, I mean, again, it's just the time that's going to happen. Everything else is dried up and we're getting these now. And that's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? I just think they're going to dry it up and exhaust it just as quick as they did with Marvel. Granted, Marvel lasted 10 years plus, but still.
I mean, say what you want about Marvel. They made a boatload of money. So these corporate execs are going to be trying to recreate that situation on any IP that exists. I promise you. Yeah.
But with that said, there's a lot of movies turned video game, or a lot of video games turned movie. Actually, the other way around, movies turned video game. But lots of video games turn movie, and some are better than others, and which is why, Dave,
we will be doing a draft of the greatest video games, the greatest movies or TV shows to come from video games.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, I like it.
I feel like that's better.
Yeah, flip the coin.
I win.
Dang it. All right,
Yeah,
well, this is a
you have to
draft.
redo.
Yeah,
No, you have to redo the intro.
This is a draft of the best movie. Or no, I'm messing it up. This is a
It's
draft.
tough, right?
Yeah, it is. This is the draft of the best movies or TV shows based off of video games.
Nailed it.
There we go.
Nailed it. That's great. Okay. First up on my list, I'm going to go with The Witcher. Have you seen The Witcher series?
Ooh, I've seen bits and pieces of it, and
Actually,
it's really good. Well done.
Actually phenomenal.
It is
It's hard to find, like we said, it's hard to find some good ones that come from video games. The Witcher series is phenomenal.
I think the TV shows do much better than the video games, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too, to be honest.
I'm gonna go back one second real quick. And I think going back to the conversation about Borderlands, I think what's different with Borderlands is it's going to be its own story. Like where the success of some of the other ones follows the video game story to a T, like the Last of Us, The Witcher. You know what I mean? Like I feel like those follow along better than what I think this movie is.
It's a catch-22, man. We say it all the time with the comic books. I feel like it's a house divided. We even did a poll on this, and it was pretty 50-50, where it's like, do you want to see the original story or do you want to see a new story? So,
yeah,
I don't know, a little bit of a house divided here. I would prefer to see the original Borderlands story be done instead of a new one, but that's always my preference. So,
right. Okay. All right. Now my first pick is, my first pick is actually fairly new, and it was on Amazon Prime, believe it or not. My first pick is the Fallout series.
Great show.
To be honest, I have never really given Fallout the games the chance because I'm not a huge fan of Bethesda. I think like I'm just not good at those games, or they're too time consuming for me.
Yeah.
Mind of a goldfish, squirrel. So that's why I can't play those games. But I really enjoyed the TV show. I binge watched it on my trip to Florida. Literally 8 hours of episodes, 8 hours in the car, watched it all. So that's my number one choice.
They did a fantastic job of recreating the world. They really did.
They did. And the actors they picked were really good. Overall, I thought it was a really good story. And I think it was really good for me because I didn't know the full story of Fallout. So I went in there kind of blindly, and I think that helped a lot.
Yeah. No, that's a great pick. Deserving of the list for sure. Okay, number 2 on my list, we are going to go back to the TV show. Well, we got to get some movies in here eventually, but I'm not going to do it. Next up on my list, we are going to go with Castlevania. I love the Castlevania series a little bit just because of like nostalgia, because I'm old and I played Castlevania my entire life. But I really think that like they did a great job capturing the feel of the game. And you know that I love that like kind of dark, spooky kind of vibe.
It
you know
works.
what I mean? It works. It works great.
Okay. My second pick? Yeah, my third pick. Second pick. Second. Yeah.
Second pick.
I did Fallout, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. My second pick is a movie, actually. My second pick is a blue hedgehog named Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog. And I think why I like this one so much and why I think it worked is it like the whole... What was I going to say? Because it started out as a really bad concept of Sonic the Hedgehog. And then the whole director and like they listened to the community to make it feel like Sonic. And I think that's why I really liked it. They listened to the feedback. They listened to like the character design was off. The overall feel of the movie was off, and they fixed it. And I think Jim Carrey played a good Eggman, and I liked the movie. So that's where I'm putting my number 2.
It's a good pick. I like Jim Carrey. I can't. There's nothing that Jim Carrey does that I don't like. So
Jim Carrey. You know what movie that's from?
No.
Where Jim Carrey plays like a bunch of different characters. Now I'm on blank. Oh man, never mind. Just keep going.
Plays a bunch of different characters.
He doesn't really. He pretends to be different people in the show. Oh man, Jim Carrey TV show or movies. It's a series of unfortunate events. I didn't need to look that up.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember now.
I remember the trailer so well. It's like Jim Carrey. It's just him popping up as the different characters in the TV show or in the movie.
Like Eddie Murphy and the Nutty Professor.
Exactly.
Just like 12 different people in the whole movie.
Exactly. But
great.
The kids know that it's Jim Carrey, or like that they know he's the character, but everybody else is like, who's this guy? Yeah.
No, I have to rewatch that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Watch it. They made a TV show with Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh, I love NPH.
Yeah, it's a Netflix original, so go ahead and check that one out.
NPH and Harold and Kumar is like my spirit animal. He's so funny.
Yeah, I love NPH.
Okay, moving on. Number 3 on my list. Number 3, right?
Yep.
We are going to go with... I don't know if a lot of people have seen this one. This is going to be a little bit of a deep cut. I'm going to go with the Cuphead series on Netflix. Did you watch it?
I did not.
There's a Cuphead series on Netflix, and it's really good.
I'll have to check it out.
It's really good, guys, and they hold that 1930s like kind of art style to it. So if you're into like the old like vintage kind of Looney Tunes and stuff like that, it holds that style throughout, and it's a really good series. It's really great. It's not very long either, so it's a short commitment.
I'll have to check it out. How many episodes is it?
I want to say like 8.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Cool.
It's great though. Check it out.
Okay. My third pick it's actually based off a true story, but it's a true story based off a video game. And So I guess this doesn't really count, but it does count. So my third pick is Gran Turismo. I
Okay.
just think the whole concept of turning video game player into a race car driver is such like a hard thing to do, and the way that they portrayed it was really cool. And I just like the video game, and I like the movie, I like the story, and so yeah. Does
I
that
think
count?
Yeah, no, we'll count it.
Yeah,
No,
cool.
no, I think Gran Turismo is one of the rare occasions where they kind of break the third wall and then like make note that it is actually a game.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yeah, like no other franchises like makes note that it was a game.
yeah,
Yeah, this kind of like breaks the third wall there.
yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. We're allowing it. Okay. Next up on my list. I'm gonna do it. We're
Do
gonna
it.
do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We are going to take Resident Evil. Now I understand that the movies themselves are not super fantastic, but you have to understand that this was like one of the very first times, aside from like Silent Hill and stuff like that, where they took a horror game and turned it into a movie, and it was just like it was really cool to see the birth of that. And it was like it was like a thing, dude. Like Resident Evil was like a thing for a long time. It's almost like Tomb Raider, where it's like it had this long span. So like I don't know. I think it deserves to be on the list.
I would happen to agree. Again, I never really watched those, but the franchise is so big in the horror, and like it just makes sense that it'd be a horror movie at some point.
Yeah, and it just like there were so many of them, dude. Like they were, it stood the test of time. I feel like it's earned the spot on the list.
Yeah, I would agree. My fourth pick is Super Mario Brothers. Again, kind of going with our conversation, it wasn't the best movie, but just the fact that it was Mario brought to life. It had all the cameos and Easter eggs that you would expect to be in it, and Jack Black hit us with the Peaches song, so that's why I love it.
That's a great pick. Okay, last up on my list, I'm going to pick probably the most horrible movie on the list without a doubt, but I'm going to do it anyway because it means a lot to me, and we are going with Mortal Kombat.
Ooh, see, that was on my list because two reasons. I love the video game, and the movies were just so bad, but the newest one isn't the most terrible.
The movies are terrible.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
I get it. The movies are terrible, but for me, like you have to understand, you got to go back in my shoes a little bit. I saw this movie in the movie theater when I was a kid, the original Mortal Kombat. And when you're a kid, like you don't see how bad it is. You just see that you're watching your favorite video game get turned like into real life. You know what I mean? And I remember watching that and like seeing Sub-Zero throw the ice and seeing Scorpion throw his dagger and like seeing Liu Kang and Shang Tsung. Like dude, it was crazy. It was crazy to see that. So I know the movie sucks, but I'm putting it on the list anyway.
As it should be. I think it's, again, like it's a movie you love or a game you love turned into a movie. And that's what we were talking about with Borderlands and all these other ones that we're talking about. But my final one, and I put it low on my list for one specific reason. I love the show, I love the game, and that's The Last of Us.
I feel like we would get so much hate if we did not put The Last of Us on this list.
No, and I love the TV show, I love the game. But my only like gripe with the TV show, and I know we just talked about sticking true to the story, but they stuck so true to the story that it literally is line for line the same as the TV or the video game. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where I kind of lost some of my like love for the movie or the TV show, is because it was exactly the same. Like it literally, and the thing is like Pedro did a great job. Pedro Pascal did a great job like reenacting it. But I literally could just watch the cutscenes of the game and be like not have to watch the TV show. But I loved it. So don't get me wrong. It's just that's my only gripe with the movie or TV show.
It's pretty on the nose. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
if
isn't a
we're gonna-
bad thing, but it's like, could have strayed away a little bit.
If we're gonna be 100% honest here, guys, I like The Last of Us was good, but I don't necessarily think it's like the fucking bee's knees that everybody
Yeah.
said. Like it's like Breaking Bad. It's like it's good, but
Yeah.
like I don't understand why it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like it just isn't. I don't know.
I think it might
I
be
don't
this-
understand why.
I think it might be the same reason why Fallout was number 1 for me and why this one's number 5. I played extensively of The Last of Us, and I've never played Fallout. And so I know what to expect with the TV show of The Last of Us, where I had no expectations with the Fallout series. And
Yeah.
so for me, like people that going into The Last of Us blind that have never played the game or don't know anything about the game, they're like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I think that's probably why
Okay,
it got
yeah,
a lot of the, this is the best TV show I've watched in a long time. It's because they haven't played the game and don't know anything about it.
that's probably
Yeah.
that's probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I played 1 and 2 both a lot, so
Yeah, and not to say it's a bad show, but for me, like I just lost some of its effect knowing that it's word for word the same as the TV show or the video game. And but not to say it's bad, it's just I lost some of the love for it because of it.
yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it was great. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I just people. It's like on this like untouchable pedestal, and I just was always like, why?
And I think that's why. And I think a lot of Last of Us players would probably say the same thing as us. So let us know in the comments if you're in the same boat with us with that. That's how I feel. I don't know if others feel that way. And was that our final pick?
Yeah, final pick.
Honorable mentions, Dave. What do you got?
I got some Arcane. I love the Arcane art style. Fantastic. Silent Hill, we already mentioned. Tomb Raider, and we had to throw Street Fighter on here for Raul Julia. Do you want me to do the quote again?
Do it.
I don't remember it.
Me either. Go for it if you remember.
Who wants to go home? And who's
don't
coming with me?
You don't remember. I didn't realize this was a game turned movie, but Far Cry actually got a movie. I had no idea.
Far Cry got a movie.
Doom has got a movie. I never watched it. What was another one? I deleted or closed out my notes. But Uncharted, again, I just felt like Uncharted was Tom Holland goes adventure hunting.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, basically. So, but yeah, let us know in the comments which are your favorite video games turned movie. We'd love to hear it. And with that, Dave, great episode, man.
Fantastic episode. It's good to be back.
Great to be back. That was a very long episode, too.
That was a long episode, and we found the coin.
We did.
What a great day. It's been a great day, guys. Real quick, guys, short and sweet on this one. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Pushing for like 2,500 right now, which is absolutely insane. If you could do all of the things, the likes, the subscribes, all that stuff, it really does help us out. We'd appreciate you guys very, very much. Adam, what you got for them?
If you're not following us on all social media, please make sure to do so. Let's Talk Nerdy Podcasts everywhere. And hop in the Discord. We want that to start getting our conversations chatting about video games, movies, anything you want to talk about nerdy-wise. We're bringing it back to be more nerdy, encompassing all.
We are back, nerdier than ever. Love you guys very, very much, and we will see you on the next one.
Peace out, nerds.